From the studios at Hawksworth, this is Swindon's local channel, bringing you a better local view. The story of local cable television in Swindon really begins back in the early 1970s. EMI undertook an experiment in local community television when they formed Swindon Viewpoint. Swindon Viewpoint provided access television, a chance for local people to train how to use the equipment and make their own television programmes on the subjects that interested them. The studios were based at the bottom of Victoria Hill. When the experiment ended in 1980, the building was used by Radio Rentals Cable Television, who were about to launch the country's first paying movie service. The ComTel movie channel began transmission in November 1981 and was able to show movies every evening. The output was put together at the Victoria Road studios for both Swindon and the sister operation in Kent. Sue Stevens was the face behind the ComTel service. As the main presenter, she became synonymous with local cable television. Sue had already been involved in presenting programmes on Swindon Viewpoint. With the facility established, the next move was to begin local programming. This time, Radio Rentals would produce the programmes about the locality by its own Swindon production team. The programmes were mainly one-off specials, coverage including one of Swindon's first marathons.
You can see the expression on Mike's face. He's glad that the finishing post is somewhere near.
Results from local elections.
There's a magic number. You need to get approximately 33% of the vote, and then you start winning seats.
And coverage of some of the town's regular events, such as the annual Hambro Life-sponsored festival.
Hello and welcome, and it's all happening here today. Festival Report tonight looks at international hockey, Indian dance, golf, the festival mural and the film festival.
A rare look behind the scenes of Victoria Road with the then station manager gives us a unique glimpse of the early pioneering days.
And this is the building where we live, where this programme is coming from now. In fact, 14 Victoria Road has a rather interesting history. In 1928, it was the home of the first cable service in Swindon when we put out just one radio service. In our museum, we still have examples of the earlier radio and television receivers that made compulsive viewing and listening all those years ago. Now let's have a look inside the building. A new development occurred in 1972 when Swindon Viewpoint used one of the spare channels on the cable to provide a community television service. By this time, Radio Rentals had an interest in the building, and today the cable system brings 6 channels to your home. 2 BBC channels, 3 ITV channels, and of course ComTel. In addition to this, we hope soon to bring you the 4th channel and perhaps satellite broadcasts as well. From here, the coaxial cable branches out across Swindon, carrying the VHF distribution signals along the rooftops and cables under the ground. An interesting feature of this service is that we can and will be scrambling our pictures electronically when we show our main feature films. This means that you won't be able to watch the feature films unless you have one of these magic boxes. And of course, you won't get the box unless you subscribe to the service. If you do try and watch the feature films without such a decoder, you'll see a rather messy picture like this. Apart from showing the major feature films in the evening, the cable television station will also be providing a teletext service available to you at home, which is free of charge. On it, we'll have such things as bus and rail times, recipes, horoscope predictions, and news of things happening in the area. And if you're looking for a new job, watch our service during the day or early evening. You'll see lots of new vacancies in the Swindon area every week, with instructions on how to apply for them. This teletext service is unique. No other cable service in Europe is providing anything quite like this, and to do it takes quite a lot of equipment. And here in Victoria Road, we also have full studio facilities, including sound and vision mixing and editing. And we also have our own portable outside broadcast cameras such as the one that's being used to film me now. So as well as our feature film service, we hope in the near future to bring you local programs as well. And remember, if there's anything you have to contribute to the television station, please contact us. We'd love to hear from you.
After a series of one-off unique documentaries, the gates were opened for a series of regular programmes. For the first time in the UK, a cable operator launched a brave new service. The cable company committed themselves to a regular news magazine programme.
Hello there and welcome to Scene in Swindon.
Scene in Swindon was produced for the very first time on the 1st of May 1984. A team of proven television professionals was selected to work alongside locally trained technicians. Most of those early programmes were based around the studio.
I'm not surprised. Okay, and Rebecca, you've got some tea made here for us.
When the video programmes weren't on air, the channel ran its own selection of information in the form of teletext pages. The cable company quickly saw the benefit of the local content and not just limiting itself to news, they also produced a weekly sports feature and results programme.
Well, good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Sport on Saturday.
Sport on Saturday was once again a first for the UK. For the first time, local teams and clubs were having their results reported upon and included in a television programme, less than 2 hours after the games had finished. The importance of such programmes was reflected in one of the major stories covered at the time, when Swindon Town Football Club sacked its manager, Lou Macari.
Last night, the chairman informed me that I was no longer employed by Swindon Town. And obviously, to say the least, I was shocked.
The team were the only TV station able to get access to the manager. The BBC received permission to use the footage. It was one of the lead stories in the following day's grandstand. By 1984, there were plans for a move from the studios in Victoria Road to a new site on the Hawksworth Industrial Estate. At the same time, Radio Rentals changed the name of the Swindon operation to Swindon Cable. To mark the launch of the new company name and the new studios, we were visited by His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent. His Royal Highness arrived at the Oasis before being driven to the studios to formally unveil a plaque. It was then on to tour the studios and meet the staff. There were 2 studios built as part of the production centre. The largest studio, Studio 1, was the new home to the newly named news magazine programme, Focus on Swindon. His Royal Highness is seen talking to the programme producer, Sue Stevens once again, and the familiar figure of presenter-reporter Trevor Cribb. Local programming was proving a success for Swindon Cable. The frequency of the news programme increased from twice to 3 times a week. However, there were changes taking place within the cable TV industry, and Thorney EMI sold its interest in cable television to BT. It spelled the end for Focus on Swindon. The last programme was shown on the 4th of February 1986. For several years, the local channel was home to programmes that were brought in. The Bold and the Beautiful ran for 2 very successful seasons. Then the channel was relaunched with another first. A unique deal saw customers able to play for cash prizes in the Home Shop Telly Bingo show. Each day, numbers were drawn at random as viewers marked them off on their cards at home. Thousands of pounds in prizes were given away, with literally hundreds of winners. The programme was sponsored in the form of another first. Home shopping hit the screen. Viewers were able to see the goods and were then invited to pick up the phone and order them. The team was asked to undertake some very strange roles.
Switch it on. Somewhere here.
Once again, the cable operator got to see the unique value of the service. When the sponsorship deal ended, it led to the channel being relaunched. From June 1989, regular programmes were back on the agenda, this time on a much smaller scale. Just one member of staff helped a group of volunteers to produce a familiar mix of programmes. As the video programmes continued to grow in length and popularity, there was a brand new look to the text operation. New computer technology allowed the introduction of the forerunner of what was to become our Cablevision information service. By 1993, Swindon Cable was owned by a Canadian company. A visit to Canada by the local programming manager sealed the deal to replace the production equipment with the latest and most up-to-date local programming facility in the country. In 1994, from newly constructed offices within the Hawksworth complex, a new look, Swindon's local channel. This is Swindon's local channel, Channel 01 from Swindon Cable, bringing you a better local view.
Hello and welcome along to Monday's Local Sport.
The local world of entertainment, of course. We'll be finding out what's happening at the major venues from the
With
theatre.
news that job losses are on the cards in Swindon.
The weekly round of sport, news and what's on provided a staple diet. The annual Cable Christmas show had become a fixture in the calendar for the production team and those taking part. In 1998, the Swindon team were challenged with a tough task. Now under the name of ComTel, local programming was needed at the sister operation in Oxford. It was the Swindon team that turned the challenge into reality. The new channel became known as Channel 10. However, there was a familiar sound to the magazine programme. Since 1998, a team of just 4 people have been producing the 2 one-hour programmes in 2 very different localities using one production facility. It's been a constant juggling of time and resources to cover major stories and issues for the 2 separate channels. In Swindon, the programming has remained constant.
What is there left to achieve? What would
NTL took over the old ComTel franchises, including Swindon. They're now planning a new channel that will be delivered to customers through new technology known as video on demand. As the production team moves on, we know as custodians of the country's longest local programming channel, we've played an important role in the history of local television in the United Kingdom.